So I wanted to do a little video. It's not a crime coverage video, and it's not something I'm going to put on the page or the YouTube or anything. It's just kind of for our group, our private group on Facebook. I've had some funny people sending me messages like, "Hey, Crime 411 girl, like, who are you? What's your name?" So first of all, yeah, I guess I could probably should tell you all that. My name is Melissa, for those who don't know. And I only started Crime 411 like what, a month ago. I've been researching cases and things like that for a long time. The first one that I actually researched and followed was the mass shooting in Aurora at the movie theater during the Batman premiere. I had flown out to Colorado to attend those hearings and did a lot of research on that case, clearly out of pure interest on my part. But I started doing these videos about a month ago. The reason I started doing it is because of the Gannon Stauch case, which that little boy just, he stole my heart. Sometimes stories in the news, they hit you harder than others. No real rhyme or reason to it, but for some reason that little boy he just stole my heart, and I became so obsessed about it. Like, the first thing I did in the morning, I would get on my phone to see if they found Gannon, and all day long, like just constantly in the groups trying to get information about what was going on and where they were searching, and and the last thing I would do before I would go to bed, I'd be on my phone looking to see if they found Gannon, and waking up in the middle of the night, grab my phone, look to see if they found the kid. And what I noticed was, like, there were thousands of people just like me, and these groups on Facebook, and they were all there trying to, get information, trying to understand what happened, because they all fell in love with this little boy, right? And one of the hardest things in the groups is to be able to decipher what is actually a fact versus what is hearsay or a theory. And so I decided that I was going to do a video for the friends that I made in these groups about Gannon, just to kind of put the facts out there that we knew and separate them, so that people had just one area that they could go to and just get an update on, where the case was so far, fact wise. And so I did that, and within a few hours, like, thousands of people were on there, and I didn't expect that. I thought maybe like a couple hundred people might see it, but I did that, and then conversations started based on that video, and so I continued doing it because it was like it just kind of took a life on of its own. And then the Evelyn Boswell case happened, and that little girl stole the heart of everybody in this country, right? Even other countries, people are following, and they're like, hey, prayers from Australia or Germany or the UK or whatnot. But the same kind of thing with Evelyn was that, so many groups, and all these groups are what everybody wants to know, like, what happened to this little girl. They just want to know that she's alive, that she's safe. They want to understand, what led to this, because everybody fell in love with her too, right? People fall in love with the kids in these cases, and it becomes very personal, and they become very emotionally invested, just like I have, just like all of you have. And it's hard to be able to say, well, this is a fact and this is a rumor, and I don't get it right all the time. I'm human, but one of the things I can tell you is that if I do make a mistake, I will correct it right away and let you know that I made a mistake. Will I make another mistake? I'm sure I probably will, because, like I said, I'm human and it happens, but it's never intentional. And my intention is always to provide you with facts, and details that are relevant and truthful. So I did the Evelyn video, and I woke up in the morning, and it was like there were like 60,000 views on there, and I was shocked. I didn't expect that at all. And people were like, can you follow up on this question or that question? And so, of course, yeah, of course I can. So I did other videos, and then people would come to me and say, I think I saw Evelyn at the KFC, or, I was a Scentsy rep that I spoke with her. So people started coming to me and bringing me, different details and information that wasn't out necessarily in mainstream media. And I felt that people really would want to know those things, because I was one of those people that wanted to know those things. you know, um, But a little bit about me. I am a huge hockey fan. Normally, I am in yoga pants, no makeup, with a ponytail and a t-shirt. So, I'm not always walking around with my hair extensions and eyelashes on. And as soon as this video is off, I can guarantee you I'm going to pull those off too. But no, seriously. Before I started Crime 411, I started a nonprofit called The Kindness Objective, and that is aimed to combat bullying and cruelty in the world. And I started that because of a girl that I met her mother. And this girl, she was 14 years old. Her name is Alexis Suzanne Reiner. And she was a really, really popular kid at the school she used to go to, right? She was on the cheer team. She had good grades. She had her little group of friends. Really good kid, too. She wasn't like the cheerleading kind of kid that was like leaving other kids out. You're talking about a girl that made Valentine things for everyone in class, that kind of kid. And her stepfather got a job offer, and he took it, and so they moved to a different city. And when they did, the girls at the new school would just not accept this girl in their circle, no matter what. They just gave her a hard time. And about 6 months into the school year, they said, "Hey, we're going to have a slumber party for the cheer team. You should come." So she was thinking, finally, like they were coming around. She was making some friends, and as you can imagine, she was really excited. And so she went to the slumber party. And when she was there, she fell asleep, and the girls took pictures of her body and sent it to every boy in school on Snapchat and Instagram. Snapchat's the one where it disappears, right? And so she didn't know. And she went to school that Monday, and she's walking through the hallway, and people are like, "You're a whore, you're a slut." And now picture the whole school looking at you and saying this. You're walking through the hallway. That hallway gets real thin and narrow real fast. And she's like, "What's happening?" And so finally somebody showed her a picture. And she went home, and she took 500 Benadryl and committed suicide. And her last words were, "It doesn't hurt anymore." And sorry, this kid, I never met her, but she has a permanent place in my heart. And I met her mother, and right after I met her mother, I wound up having a hysterectomy. After I had my son, I had endometriosis. This got really bad, but anyhow, I wound up having a hysterectomy and getting a divorce in like the same 2 days. Like, I wound up a single mother by myself in the state of Tennessee with a 2-year-old on bed rest, and my mom was here, but I had no one else to help. And this lady, this girl's mother, she came to my house with baskets of presents for me and my son, and a home cooked meal with her own plates and silverware. And this woman who had just lost her daughter served me lunch at my home because I needed someone. And I was like, I mean, who does that? Let alone someone that just lost their daughter, right? Like, what an absolutely amazing human being to do that for me. She didn't even know me. And so I made it my life's mission to make sure that I was going to follow through with that nonprofit, the Kindness Objective, in her memory and in her honor. And that's what I was doing before Crime 411. And Crime 411, I'll tell you what, it's taught me a lot. The first time I made a mistake, I had about 11,000 followers that just wanted to bash my head in on social media, saying, horrible things to me, messaging me horrible things, because I simply had made an error. No room for error, by the way. It's just, you make a mistake and these people will come at you like they are going for the jugular. And I realized that while I understood, the impact that social media has had on bullying and things of that nature, I really didn't realize it until it was happening to me. When we were kids, everybody gets picked on, everybody gets bullied, but we would go home and we would get away from it for a little while. Now You can't get away from it. You've got Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. People just, it's for the whole world to see. It never lets up. These kids just are relentless. And it's not just the kids, it's the adults that are raising them. And I know because those people were the people that were attacking me. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the most trying, emotionally trying couple of days of my life last week. When I was going through that, it was horrible for me. Especially like people don't know me, but I'm like the nicest person in the world. Like I'll do anything for anybody. I'm not making a mistake because I want to hurt someone. I made a mistake because I'm a human being, right? But what it taught me was that if it was that hard for me to deal with that kind of harassment at 42 years old, can you imagine how hard it would be for somebody to deal with that who is just a kid and doesn't even have life coping skills yet? So it made me realize that I still need to really stay the course with the kindness objective. And one of the things that we're working on doing is getting compassion and empathy classes in elementary schools and things like that. And we do events, like we had an event at the Veterans Home for Christmas, and the kids went and did ornaments with the veterans. It was really, really cool. Santa was there, but anyhow, the Crime 411 thing, it kind of just it just kind of took on a life of its own. And so, and I enjoy it. I enjoy sharing, information and getting facts out there about cases. I enjoy finding details of things that aren't in mainstream media, because I know, just like myself, that all of you really want to know in these situations, like, what the heck happened, right? You want to understand, because your mind you can't wrap your head around these things that happen. And people just look for some sort of understanding to be able to cope with these things. They fall in love with these children and these people and these stories, right? And so that's why I decided I was going to do Crime 411, and that's why I'm still going to do Crime 411. And I just wanted to thank you guys for joining the group and for following the page, and for being supportive, and for being respectful of each other in the group. Now you know why I'm so adamant about not having harsh words spoken in the group. It's not because I can't take feedback or heat. It has nothing to do with that. My whole life's ambition is about making the world a kinder, more loving place. And so it just goes against the core of my being to allow that in these groups, whether it's toward me or toward anybody else. And I'm just not going to allow it. Anyhow, like I said, I just wanted to make a short video and at least just tell you who I am, and, give you an idea of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I hope that you guys will stick with me through it, and allow me to continue to grow and get better as I learn, and follow the page and participate in the discussions. And if there's anything, I've had a handful of people that have messaged me that have had a loved one that's gone missing, or, whatever the case may be, or maybe someone passed and investigation didn't go the way that they had hoped, and they feel as though somebody got away with something, and they've messaged me to cover that. Anything I can do to help any of you, please message me. Just, send a message to the group, to Crime 411. If I don't get back to you right away, I am not ignoring you. I've gotten so many messages that I really I'm having a hard time keeping up. I'm not used to that. In my personal life, I keep a very small circle, so I don't get a lot of messages all the time. And then all of a sudden, I'm like inundated with them. So I'm not ignoring you if I don't answer right away. I'm just bombarded, for lack of a better word. But again, thank you guys so much for believing in me, for believing in Crime 411, for being part of my journey in this. And I really, really do appreciate it.